Car 54, return to station.
APB, or Points Bulletin, is a 1987 arcade game by Atari. You take the role of Officer Bob, a rookie road cop. It's your duty to drive around the city, ticketing motorists for minor infractions and pulling over more serious offenders. Eventually, players must apprehend criminals, for which an all-points bulletin has been called. The original arcade cabinet was created to look like a police car, complete with a siren button that activated flashing lights atop of the unit. The game's cartoonish visuals and sense of humour gained it positive reviews. However, the game was slightly criticised for its difficulty. The game's developers later admitted that the long development cycle had resulted in gameplay growing more complicated than originally planned. And I'm using this as my excuse for being awful at the game.
Pull over, buddy. Hey you, pull over.
Car 54, return to station.
Bug off, buddy. Move over, buddy.
APB on the Atari ST is awful in my opinion. First, let's talk about the horrible controls. As to be expected, you have to push up to accelerate, but that means you also have to turn left and right while pushing up. Think of Resident Evil tank controls. That's what we have here. So even when travelling down, you are still pushing up to move forward. Then there's the awful AI and ease of blowing up your car. The car will explode at the mere sight of seeing an obstacle. To make matters worse, AI cars can drive straight into you out of nowhere, instantly blowing up your car. It's horrible. Even the audio is horrible, with a heavy humming sound in the background once the music starts playing. The Amiga port comes to us from the same developer as the Atari ST version, Walking Circles. In ways, it's better than the ST port. Graphics are better, it sounds much nicer, and has more speech samples, and is slightly easier to control. But maybe that's because the game runs incredibly sluggish on the Amiga. Just look at how slow it is. And what's worse, we still have the terrible AI from the ST version in this port. They'll still ram into you, exploding your car, and you'll still be able to demolish your car just by bumping into something. I can't say I'd recommend playing this. While sounding like a flatulent curry muncher lighting his farts on fire, the Atari Lynx port is rather playable and does include more speech than any other home port. The play area has been redesigned to suit the lower resolution of the Lynx screen, but it doesn't hinder the gameplay that much, if at all. It's a shame you can't select your opening stage, meaning you will always have to do the training area, but still, that's a small price to pay for a game that's playable.
Who, me? Get lost. No way, Jose. Where's the gas station? Who, me? Get lost. Make me. It's just in here, don't it? Who, me?
The C64 port features no speech at all, but that's okay because it has a pretty cool control method that the Amiga and ST should have used, and I'm not sure why they didn't, since they were both by the same developer as the C64 port. In this port, you push forward once to start your car moving, push forward again to speed up. You are then free to turn left and right without having to keep pushing up on the joystick. The car will automatically accelerate. If you'd like to stop, then simply pull back once on the joystick. Unlike the C64 port, the ZX Spectrum release does contain a lot of the arcade's presentation. Unfortunately, it also contains the horrid AI from the Amiga and ST ports. Yep, you can be destroyed time and time again and not be able to do anything about it. Just look at what happens to me at the end of this section. And let's take a look at all those versions of APB running side by side. Atari Lynx. While sounding like a flatulent curry munching light. While sounding like a flatulent curry muncher lighting his farts on fire, the Atari Lynx port is a flatulent curry muncher. Oh. Oh. While sounding like a flatulent bloody hell. While sounding like a flatulent curry muncher lighting his farts on fire, the Atari Lynx port is rather playable and does include more speech than any other. Oh, bollocks. While sounding like a flatulent curry muncher lighting his farts on fire, the Atari ST, didn't he? While sounding like the... I'll never get this done. While sounding like a flatulent curry muncher lighting his farts on fire, the Atari Lynx port is rather playable and does include more speech than any other home port.